Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Brief.
200 people have now been diagnosed with the coronavirus in Israel, 2 of which remain in serious condition. And this latest uptick in cases comes as the government has just announced new restrictive measures to curb the spread of the disease. As of now, supermarkets and pharmacies will remain open to the public, but all places of leisure will be shutting down as of this morning. That means that malls, restaurants, dining rooms will all be shuttered, aside from those that provide takeout. So if there is a local business that you order takeout from, that may still be available. Bars, pubs, and dance clubs will also be closed though, along with gyms, pools, water and amusement parks, zoos, and petting zoos. Bathhouses and ritual baths will also be shuttered, along with beauty and massage salons, event and conference venues, public boats and cable cars, and heritage sites. Now, the Israeli Health Ministry has also announced a new directive that bans gatherings of more than 10 people in any given space. So all schools, universities, daycare centers, kindergartens, and after-school programs are also going to be shut down starting today. And the Health Ministry is also advising Israelis to refrain from traveling in a car in groups larger than 2, while recommending that people avoid using public transportation as much as possible as well. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, people are advised not to go to the beach, where there will be no lifeguard services. The municipal workers will continue to provide sanitation and security services, however. Now, right now, nearly 40,000 Israelis are believed to be in home quarantine for fear of exposure to the virus. And so far, health officials have also conducted over 6,800 coronavirus tests nationwide. Over 150,000 cases of the disease have been diagnosed across the world, with over 5,700 deaths. And in Israel, the capacity for coronavirus tests is expected to triple to 2,000 per day. As regulations become even more strict surrounding the coronavirus, the Israeli Finance Ministry is now predicting that the partial shutdown of the country beginning today will cost the economy an estimated $3 billion over the course of the next 6 weeks. The ministry's chief economist says that shutdown will cost Israel $1.2 billion if it only lasts for 3 weeks. According to the reports, the finance ministry has been strongly opposed to a full shutdown, arguing that it's unrealistic to think that the coronavirus can be completely eradicated and that the outbreak should be managed in a way that does not cause economic collapse. The director of Israel's tax authority will also be holding a meeting today to discuss possible ways to postpone payments from businesses. Retail stores are responding quickly to the new regulations, with Israel's largest fashion company, Castro, closing all 454 of its stores and placing 6,000 employees on leave. Zara will likewise also be closing all of its shops in Israel. The construction industry in Israel, though, is expected to continue business as usual, since new directives only forbid 10 people from working together indoors, but not outside. The industry largely depends on Palestinian workers from the West Bank, but the Israeli government is working on a solution for having workers under the age of 55 in Israel in the event of a border closure. The construction industry is expected to receive around 1,000 workers from China and 800 from Ukraine in the coming weeks as well, all of whom will need to remain in quarantine for 14 days in their home countries before traveling to Israel, and then 14 days in quarantine in Israel before being able to work. Then finally, Israeli banks have given construction businesses around $24 billion in credit, so a collapse of the construction industry could threaten the whole banking system. Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein has announced that in spite of the spreading pandemic, the 23rd Knesset will still be inaugurated on Monday. And President Reuven Rivlin will likewise begin meeting with the various parties to get recommendations for a potential prime minister, while Prime Minister Netanyahu is playing the field by focusing on preparing for fourth elections while also pushing for a majority coalition to prevent another vote. But rather than continuing to try and poach Knesset members from the center-left to get to the 61 necessary mandates, the premier is now advocating for a national unity government partnered with all the center-left parties. He says he's, quote, calling on his colleagues, Benny Gantz, Avigdor Lieberman, and Amir Peretz, from the blue and white Israel Beitenu and Labor Gesher Meretz parties respectively, to join him, form a coalition, and take on the emergencies pressing the nation. Netanyahu is not inviting the joint Arab list, however, and Blue and White Chairman Benny Gantz says the joint list would need to be included because they're the third largest faction. Also, the joint list has since given its full support for the role of Prime Minister to Benny Gantz during their meeting with President Rivlin, meaning that a potential center-left government could actually form in the near future. Meanwhile, Avigdor Lieberman says he supports an emergency unity in theory, but that he also says he believes Netanyahu is likely just playing more political games.
That's all for now, but for more news from Israel, remember to like ILTV on Facebook and on Instagram, and to subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.